Hey everyone, it's Sam. Today we're going to be tying the General Practitioner in black. This pattern is also known as Lingren's Indispensable. It is a great steelhead and salmon fly, coastal cutthroats, bull trout, you name it. It's a pretty classic pattern. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is tying in a short butt section with gold tinsel. So I've got some of that right here. Tie that in. I'm using a 1/0 hook, 6/0 black thread. I'm gonna wrap this tinsel nice and tight. Capture that with a couple good wraps before we cut it off. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. Next thing we're going to be tying in is some squirrel tail. You can use bucktail. I'm using black here. As you can see, I'm going to get a small clump. And then I'm going to kind of grab the tail ends, get some of the shorter fibers out. So it's not too bulky when we're tying in, we just have the fibers that we want for the tail. And I'm going to measure out tail almost a hook shank in length. I'm going to put that right in there. Actually, it's a little dense. I'm going to take a few more fibers out. There we go. Trim off some of the excess butts and clean that up. Next thing I'm going to be tying in is some crystal flash. I just have a few strands. A little bit's going to go a long way here. I'm going to wrap it in half around the thread and pull it rearward, tie it on top. The next portion we're going to do is we're going to build the back half of the body, so this fly is kind of in segments. This one I'm going to do 2 segments, so I'll build a body and hackle here. I'll do a couple of eyes and wings, and then do the same thing up here. So when there's a cat, he's trying to say something. Anyways, I'm going to start by tying in some oval tinsel. That's what we're going to use to make the ribbing. I'm using gold. You can use silver. Both work. So we'll tie that in on the side here. And then I'm using black dubbing for the body. You can use yarn. You can use floss. A little bit later on in the video, I'm going to show a time lapse of me tying the original General Practitioner in orange. There, I was able to use some orange mohair yarn, which actually turned out pretty good. But for now, I'm just going to use regular black dubbing to make a little loop. Like I said before, we're going to work it to about halfway up the shank here. Okay, that's pretty good. So now we're going to tie in hackle up here, and we'll tie it in, we'll wrap it back, and then we'll trap it and cross wrap it with the tinsel. So I've got my black hackle here. I'm going to work the tips back and cut a little triangle to tie in. Before you start tying this fly, it's also a good idea to get your golden pheasant neck feathers ready. I'm going to show you how to do that. Essentially, you're going to find the neck feathers, strip back the fibers that you want to use for the eyes, and then you'll cut a little V out so that you have two little sets of eyes. Then you can use super glue, or in my case I used head cement to kind of hold those fibers together, give them a little bit of stiffness, and have those prepped and ready to tie in so that the glue or head cement has dried, so you're not getting it caught in your fibers and other material when you're tying. So back to this, I'm going to wrap the hackle. I'm going to try and get these fibers to sweep back somewhat. I'm going to do probably 4 wraps back. So I've got my fibers here. Now I'm going to grab my tinsel and counter wrap. Really trap that well, that first wrap, hold the feather in place, and work it between the hackle fibers while I wrap it forward. I ended up doing actually about 5 wraps with the hackle, so I'll do that many wraps with the tinsel going back. Okay. Then I'll tie off the tinsel up here. 3 good wraps. Cut it. Clean it up a little bit while I hold the fibers back. And then I will also snip this hackle. Kind of work out these fibers, make sure I didn't trap them too much. It looks pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare the fly to put down the golden pheasant feathers. So to do that, we're going to want these fibers facing down, kind of build a flat top of the fly. So I'll lick my fingers, just kind of work these fibers down on either side, like so, and down and back a little bit. I'm also going to trim that stem a little bit better. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to take our golden pheasant neck. This is just a natural color, even though it's a black General Practitioner fly. I'm using the natural golden pheasant here. I'm going to tie it in on top of the body, like so. So you can kind of get those eyes facing back, almost a little bit past the base of the tail. It's almost, I kind of describe this as a layered fly. So we're building a couple layers here on top with this golden pheasant. It's a little lopsided. There we go. So I've got that locked in place. I'll cut it. And then now I'm going to go to my black dyed golden pheasant cape, and I'm going to grab myself a couple of breast feathers. So the first one's a little shorter. And this is gonna go on top of the neck feather that we just prepared and laid in. So I'm gonna lay that on top, pretty much flat. I'm gonna throw a few loops in there, not too tight, and then I'm just gonna pull it back a little bit so that it's layered over the neck feather, but the eyes are still sticking out. You're not covering the eyes up too much. And I want to make sure it's flat on top, and then once I'm happy with the way it's oriented, I'm going to tie it down, like so. Oh. I kind of twisted it a way I didn't like. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, clean it up. And then essentially all we're doing is repeating that process that we made from the tail to here. So tinsel, dubbing, hackle, neck, breast feather, and we're good. So I'm gonna get my Tinsel. This is the same piece of tinsel. And honestly, if you have one pretty long piece of hackle and tinsel, you can use the same piece. There's still quite a bit of hackle left on that feather, so no need to waste two of them. Okay, that is tied in. I'm going to do another dubbing loop. We're going to want to stop our dubbing loop about here. Give yourself room to tie in those last few feathers, so you're not crowding the eye too much. Alright, so at this point, while I'm doing the second body section of the original fly, in the top right hand corner, I'm going to be showing a time lapse of the original General Practitioner done in orange. I tied it pretty much the exact same way. Really, the only difference is that I used bucktail for the tail instead of squirrel tail, and then instead of doing two body sections, I kind of did three. So I did the neck and breast feathers on the back over the butt before I started building the body. You don't have to do that. I think the fly looks good with two, but it's just a little bit different version, different way of tying it. So enjoy. That's good right there. Okay, so then we will go back to our original hackle feather, and I'm just gonna pull most of these back, make another little triangle to tie in, and I will use this same feather. Just like that. Okay. And same as before, we're gonna work it backwards and then trap it with the tinsel. So get this the way I want it. It's being a little temperamental. There we go. This is going to be just right. I run out of hackle fibers right as I finish wrapping, so I'll take the tinsel, trap it, and wrap up. And then we're going to repeat our process of working those fibers down, just like before. Pheasant neck. Lay it down. This feather was a little longer. Once I tie it in, I'll do a few loose wraps, maybe pull it back a little bit to distinguish it from the other set of eyes. So I'll just kind of work that back. Like so. That looks good. I'll tie it down real good. There we go. Okay, And then to finish off, I've got longer black breast feather that's going to go on top. I'll lay it flat right about there. Pull it back just a little bit. Make sure we're flat on top. There we go. Snip that guy up. Really lock it into place. And whip finish it. Hit it with a little bit of head cement. Let that dry and we're good. So this one is pretty much all black. You can do purple, dark blue, orange is the original one. But hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.